Warframe is a game of extremes, and you would expect it to be mostly polarizing, but somehow found itself home to hundreds of thousands of players. Somewhere within these cold and digital dungeons, players found warmth and comfort just, grinding it out together. Somehow, this is a game that can satiate gore fiends and then also appetize average consumers. It's a game that at some points can feel like an arcade action RPG grinder with guns, and other times like a hyperactive literal ninjas in space stealth game. And now more than ever, actually, can feel like a full-fledged cinematic experience. Warframe can be defined oddly by its duality, right? The fast and furious action grind, but also intertwined with that, the slower, methodical, mathematical customization and reward system. The game being a looter shooter, which is really atlased by Warframe itself. It's a game that's kind of hard to explain in a single breath. Definitely an acquired taste, for sure that's hard to savor sometimes, but one that is absolutely leaving its mark with every new update for its fans and awake through the free-to-play and now even AAA gaming space. Hey friends and family, my name is Skylent, and today I'm going to give you my review of Warframe on the Switch. And to clarify, this is not a fully inclusive review of all that is Warframe. This is more specifically on the technical aspects and the overall game feel jumping in. But I did migrate my PC account, so I did get to play through a breadth of gameplay from the start all the way to more endgame-ish stuffs. And I think overall, I'm going to be covering this probably better than everybody, so I'm just throwing that out there. But seriously, I am actually taking this video pretty seriously, so if you could peel some eyeballs on the Patreon, smash the like button and leave a comment, tell me what you feel, and also share this video. Let's get some more actual, real criticism out there in the world so we can make our living, breathing online games, well, filled with more breath and life. But here we are now. The gameplay has been rolling in the background, and I feel like this is one review that, without any sort of auditory addition, you would almost be able to get a full review. Without voice, without even really proper highlights, just raw gameplay, I feel really just slaps you in the face with a lot of the issues that this game has. It's very visual, very upfront, and I'm kind of ashamed to see my peers just spitting out a lot of sugary coated goodness and hyping up the circle jerk of what is Warframe, which is an amazing franchise, and I'm glad it's on the Switch to an extent, but immediately, I need to come out and let you guys know. I'm trying to ease you into it, but I think I'm about to punch you in the gut here and say that this port maybe should have been baking a little bit longer, and it's really debatable if anybody should even really waste their time and pervert the really true experience of what Warframe is by playing it on the Switch. But we should know our audience. Warframe on the Switch is probably meant for entirely new Tennos, which we deemed Nintendos. Welcome to the family. This community is one of the most welcoming and friendly that I've ever been a part of. And even though I've dipped my toe back in just lightly every so often, everyone has always tried to drag me deeper and deeper, which is just the nature of Warframe. It is a well of entertainment and grind and time, just constantly spiraling down into darkness and emptiness. But you can find a lot of fun and a lot of friends here. It is an online game, that is something worth mentioning. But on the Switch, you are not going to be playing with the ecosystem of PC players or PS4, which is kind of good because your control scheme is really heavily limiting, but more on that later. Firstly though, Nintendos, you're probably younger children, maybe older. Generally though, you're gonna be somebody who probably doesn't have access to a normal PC, which most average PCs can run Warframe quite adequately, or you're somebody that just really is like me and is a little weird and relishes the challenge of trying Warframe or just certain games with different control schemes and maybe trying to find a new game out of an old game, which is totally possible because a game is all about gaming and how you play the game and physically touch it. It can change things. And to me, normally my history with games, I found it for the better. Playing around with a Steam controller, playing around with drawing tablets or FPS on mobile devices and a lot of other very weird things. But here with the Switch and my experience with Warframe already, it is really sad and really tragic, at least compared to the PC version. So if you have access to just an average PC, then I don't know why you are trying this on the Switch, unless you're weird like me. And even someone weird like me, well, I'm going to be deleting Warframe from my Switch, and I'm not going to continue playing. The PC is the absolute definitive way to play Warframe. But alright guys, before I scar Warframe too deeply or your fragile little fan hearts, I do want to say that I think a lot of these things can be fixed, and I'm foretelling that they actually will in time, especially if we get this video shared, yeah? Let's go ahead and jump right into it. I'm just going to rapid fire this out here. It is a port, and it's going to feel like a port. However, it's actually going to be missing some features that I wish was like on the PC version, or I wish that they had entirely new options for the Switch. And specifically, the options menu is actually what I'm talking about. This is where a number of main issues that I have with the game is going to stem from. So immediately, how does the game run? A lot of people would say very solidly. those people didn't even try to play the game. At level 30, with any frame, you're trying to do just like normal level 30 content. Oh my gosh, it's going to chug. And in fact, when I was streaming, it actually crashed. If it looks really slow and really janky and really blurry, I'm telling you, that's what I'm seeing too. Right now, it's so blurry. Software closed because of an error occurred. The game crashed! The game actually crashed. All right. Now, what you can do is turn on and off a number of post-processing options. However, you don't really get to mess around with the fidelity of the game. A thing that you could do on PC to easily match your computer. Put it on low, put it on high, and of course you can turn off and on a lot of post-processing, but for the Switch, you're kind of locked into how they want you to see the game, which is great whenever you start the game and it looks amazing. It's like, oh my gosh, you know, well, this is on the Switch, which is what a number of people are saying. However, when you really get into the gameplay, which mainly focuses on spamming abilities, killing hundreds of enemies in any minute, you know, using some of the most ridiculous, explosive, literal weapons out there, no, the game doesn't keep up, and that's going to be portable, locked in the dock. Otherwise, whatever you do, any options configuration that you're going to be choosing, it is going to chug. So immediately, you're going to start the game, and it's going to seem all rainbows and daisies, but very quickly, I believe, you will find that the actual core loop of Warframe, which is very fast-paced, very demanding, I would say, for hardware, yeah, it's impressive that it at all works on the Switch, but the thing is I don't really think, from somebody who's more critical, it doesn't really work. It does literally crash. It actually is not running at a solid frame rate, which many people would also say it does. At least it's stable 24 FPS. No. It dips way down. It absolutely gets sub 10 FPS in some moments. And it can jump, it can spike. For the most part, though, it does something. I don't know how they're configuring it, but it does seem more smooth than if I was playing on a really old like laptop or something. It's not going to be as spiky, as jaggedy, but overall, the experience and how you control it, that latency that you're going to feel, oh man, it will get you killed if the controls don't do it for you first. So yeah, that's going to be something that you have to tackle as well. It being a Switch game, obviously, you don't have keyboard and mouse, and you don't have access to something like the PS4 controller, though I guess you could use, you know, the Switch Pro or something else like that. But just default, I think actually, surprisingly, the most fun that I had with this game is really heavily focusing on the gyro controls, and that's kind of why I think it could work as a mobile game in a way. But if you're using the Switch controller, especially in docked mode, it's not going to work. The analog sticks are just garbage for shooter games unless you heavily use the gyro controls. And for a game like Splatoon, it really works because that's the gameplay. And that's kind of why I'm criticizing this as a port, because, like, yeah, this is what an endeavor, what a challenge, what an accomplishment. But did it really need to happen? Maybe they should have taken a little bit longer, especially with coming up with more creative key bindings or making new things that could have added to the game, like how they made melee actually auto-target to whenever you hit something, it actually will like lock on to the enemy. That's new. That's pretty good. I like that. I appreciate that. But we need way more stuff like that. Something more akin to almost reworking or completely adding in entirely new mechanics like we saw with some ports like Diablo 3. So with this game, the controls, it's just the controller, and I guess you could maybe try to configure or get some new controller to play in docked mode, but I still think that actually the most fun that you can have with this is playing heavily with the gyro controls, like sitting in your computer desk or, you know, your swivel chair or whatever, in the middle of a room and kind of playing turret mode and flying around like that, and really using the analog stick most lightly. Normally, you would play with gyro controls like heavily analog stick and then gyro whenever you need little tiny fine, you know, tunings, but I actually think it was the most fun in terms of like the opposite, and I really actually mostly played like that, and to an extent, that was almost a saving grace. I almost wanted to keep Warframe on my Switch for that, but then every other issue came about. So these awkward controls, and with a heavy emphasis on trying to use gyro controls, which I am comfortable with because I do play with a Steam controller on many games, in the end, because of the latency, the ping is so bad, or something going on with that netcode, all I can tell you is that it's not good. And then also the fact that the game chugs and the frame rate drops so badly, and really just the graphics themselves are kind of messy on such a small screen, small resolution, and with forced post-processing in many ways, and the way the graphics actually just kind of work artistically, aesthetically, it's just kind of hard to see what's going on. To the point where, man, I really just cannot play this as much as I want to experiment in my toy box, right? Play with different toys on my Switch, which itself is a toy, you know, use the gyro controls, you know, play around and be silly with it and go to different places. I'm fine even using a mobile hotspot if I have to, because I'm eccentric like that. But even all that, the overall experience, because of the cohesion of these issues that just really rock my world, man, when it comes to trying to have fun with Warframe, it just does not really work out. But now you should know that in the end, if you play very slowly, if you play offline, you can do a lot of the cinematic stuff. You can actually play through much of Warframe, if not all of Warframe, really, like substantially, like 99% of the content, and have probably a good time, and it would be debatably playable. So, you know, even somebody critical like me, I would say it's at bare bones playable. However, that would be playing with certain specific weapons like the Soma, or very automatic weapons that you wouldn't really call skilled weapons, using frames that are a little bit more straightforward, and specifically doing specific missions and things like that. Playing in a very hyper-focused, tunnel-visioned way, you might be able to get around a lot of these limitations at the moment, which hopefully, again, some of these things get fixed, but in the end, I don't think you're going to go through the entire breadth of Warframe with a lot of enjoyment, because the point of Warframe is to get new frames, get new weapons, and go, you know, across the star chart, doing everything, and re-leveling, you know, basically prestiging through the entire game. You know, you get a weapon, and then you're done with it. You don't just stick with one weapon or one frame or one playstyle through any of the game. You're always getting new mods, you're always getting new stuff, and you're forced to level those things in order to acquire new things. So the Switch, being as limiting as it is and as awkward as it is, you might want to just stick with something that might work, again, like the Soma. Yeah, no, you can't really do that. To really play fully Warframe, you're gonna have to go through a lot of awkwardness, and that's true for PC. And this is extra doubly, triply, exponentially so with the Switch version. Now, not to trash on anybody's chosen platform, but there is also probably going to be an issue, and one that I did immediately see at the moment. However, I'm a little bit forecasting this because this is in relation to the community. See, the reason that why Warframe isn't considered pay to win by most people is because you can actually trade items in the game. You can even earn platinum, which is the premium currency. And you're going to need to do that to really fluidly play through Warframe, since it does have loadout slots, it does have crafting timers, and it can be very uncomfortable if you literally just tried to hardcore Iron Man solo Warframe. So having a community to actually trade with is important, but the Switch version is undoubtedly going to be like the least popular version, and if it is popular, it's not going to be populated by hardcore players, but incredible casuals and people who just lightly jump on and off or just try the game one time. It's going to be a one and done experience for many of them. So if you're going to play on the Switch, debatably the game kind of is going to feel a little bit more pay to win. It's going to definitely, the currency, the cash shop, that's going to be sinking into you a little bit harder, a little bit more biting than if you were playing on PC. On PC, it's very easy to trade, it's very easy to get premium, there's lots of sites to actually utilize, to actually accrue that, so not too much of a problem, not too much of an issue, especially because you can actually control the game, it's more fluid, it's more reliable, it's just easier to do the do on PC, and on the Switch, it's going to feel so cumbersome. You know, you're going to be trying to play through the game, you're going to be trying to run through missions, trying to grind, you're going to be less efficient, you're really going to feel the weight of the premium currency that you're not accruing as quickly, and I didn't really see any players in the trading relays, so, you know, that's kind of scary, seeing the future of that from that perspective. This is a free-to-play game, they have to make money somehow, and it's kind of balanced on PC. I'm not exactly sure how the ecosystem is working on PS4, but for the Switch, I am worried. I think it's worth noting. Now, I am somebody who is a little bit tougher on developers for their cash shop endeavors. They have been on the sharp end of my stick for quite a while here at Digital Extremes, and I do hope and wish for the best. Their game is pretty awesome, but it is something that is not without faults, especially in what is normally praised, which is their cash shop system and their grind overall. With the Switch, you just feel it harder and harsher. And so I feel I need to make a bigger point out of it. But in closing, I just kind of want to give off some feelings, you know, from the heart, eye to eye, peer to peer. I do want to say my hopes and dreams for what Warframe is and was and could be here. I really liked the idea of having this very addictive, daily, grindy game accessible to me. You know, maybe I'm on the toilet, maybe I'm in the bathtub, which has actually happened here. Maybe I'm laying in bed, or, you know, like I've showed in the footage, out in the world trying to do stuff. I wanted to have Warframe at my fingertips at all time, but the truth is it felt stinging. It was awkward and crampy and unenjoyable and overall very arthritic, and that was when it was playing real good like. So while it's not a critic's job to actually give solutions, I think it can kind of elucidate my criticism so far. Namely, I'm going to ask that you actually give us the ability to downgrade our graphics even further. I don't care if you have to make entirely new textures to make this really look appropriate and run well. Just frankly, the game is too graphically powerful in many of these situations and scenarios. Now, of course, I can just say get good at your rendering, get better at your netcode, which I already think you definitely need on the PC version, but I really think that we just straight up need more options, more customization with the controller, more customization with our graphics, more customization with every little thing, because that's the only way anybody's going to play this game comfortably, because the Switch is hardly malleable. This game is one of the most niche and specific games out there, which I already said had very high player expression, but it's still a very specific game that you play in specific ways at specific times, and without those proper options, it's just not going to run great on the Switch, it's not going to feel great, and we're just not even going to be able to play it at all in some situations. So please and thank you, Digital Extremes and Panic Button. Thanks for the attempt at the port. It is actually competent in many ways for, again, what it is, but that also brings back the conversation. Warframe on the Switch. Should it have been done in the first place? Maybe. If it was, then I think it should have been done with much more care, with much more sincerity and creativity. Digital Extremes, you made a debatably AAA free-to-play game, and that's how you've always been known. Experimental, yes. Weird and ever-growing, true. But I think many people would say a very interesting and polished and deep product through and through. And this port does not live up to that expectation. Thanks for watching, friends and family. My name is Skylent, and this was my review of Warframe on the Switch. Again, it was targeted mainly at the porting to the Switch, which obviously was going to be detrimental in a number of ways, but I just wanted to give you my thoughts and feelings, and a reason why I didn't really more gloat or power through many of these issues, and instead just, I really highlighted them. I wanted to do that because that was my experience. The vast majority of my experience was these issues, and I hope that you take issue with that, and if we can, share this video, and if we can make our voices louder, then of course, just like as we always have with Warframe, we will continue to grow as a community, as a game itself. Digital Extremes listens, and we'll have a better time all in all. So hopefully that rings true here now. No matter what, keep the hype alive. My name is Skylent, and I'll see you again next time. I mean, I'm getting kind of better with the controller, but still aiming certain things is just kind of intense and hard.
Continue to defend.
What the hell? Is not what I wanted to do at all. Can we jump on the... Yeah. What? No. Can we get up, please? Okay, this is bad. Can I please... What is happening? Can you please jump? What are you doing? Dude, I'm pressing... What? There we go. No. Okay, what button is... Oh my god. I'm gonna suck. But we're gonna do it. Oh, baby, I'm a ninja. Dude, you can just press buttons and nobody would be able to touch you. Oh, where are you going? Boom, baby! Sliced. Did I kill him? Did he die? Probably got hurt a little bit. A little bit, right? Hello? Oh, that's a Volt boy. He's a fast boy. Oh my god. I can't even see the blur. What am I playing? Oh, wrong button. Okay. Oops. Wow. Can you get what does it look like on stream? I'm trying to watch it, and it's just a blur. I'm watching right now. I was reincarnated as a slime. That time I was reincarnated as a slime. That's actually pretty decent. I think it probably is a good manga, so I'm gonna probably watch the manga. Also watching Goblin Slayer, but I'm gonna read the manga instead. Yeah, Goblin Slayer is pretty alright. It's alright. It honestly, the anime doesn't deserve the hype, but the manga's, where it's at, right? And we have to play some PvP. We have to play some not even high level gameplay really, and it chugged like that. So you can only imagine when you actually get to the high levels with hundreds of monsters on the screen, everyone using